is a special edition of Inside Government with Cedric Peterson.
To our audience here at home and around the world, you are now inside government. As you know, we have this series running concerning services rendered to you, the people of St. Martin. Public Service Center is celebrating their 10th anniversary. And you remember in our first interview with the representatives of PSC, they mentioned that they work with various services of government that extend these services to you, the people of St. Martin. Well, the next department in our series is none other than the Department of Social Services. And representing that department, we have Senior Policy Execution Officer, Mr. Eric Van Arneman. Eric, it's great to have you in the program.
Thank you for having me.
Eric, it's been a while since you and I got a chance to speak to each other. It's been quite some time, and things have grown. We want to get into social services and how the department itself has grown over the years. But let's first establish the organizational structure of social services before Country St. Martin. What was it in Netherlands Antilles?
Okay, it was together. It was Labor Department and Social Welfare. They were a department that worked together. As a matter of fact, we were in the same building. Everything was together. And then when things started to roll, to reach to 10-10-10 for St. Martin to become Country St. Martin, that's when they decided that they will separate the two departments. We had now labor affairs and then social services, but now realizing that they work better together because one needs the other in the sense for it to reach the goals and the different things that the department wants to reach of how government would like to help its people. We try to put it back together again, and now it is called the Division, Labor Affairs and Social Services.
All right. There's the history and the actual structure of the organization.
That's
All
right.
So executing agency that falls under the Ministry of Public Health, Social Development, and Labor for Country St. Martin. Let's get into some of the services that are offered at your department.
Well, at social services, we have we call it a two-pillar unit or department. It is material aid and immaterial aid. The material aid is what we can deliver. They are deliverables. For example, we can help with financial assistance, medical assistance, and legal assistance. And the immaterial is where we have for the social workers who will do the immaterial part. That is more counseling, helping, guiding, empowering that side of social service. So we're trying to reach the total person in our community.
Is it available for any and everyone that they can just walk into social services and just ask for these services, or does one have to go through a qualification process?
Everyone can walk in and ask, but it's not everybody can qualify. Because what happened is we have national ordinances that govern all the different deliverables that social services has. So because of that, then it gives us rules of where we have to pay attention to. For example, for the material aid, a person has to have at least a permanent residence permit. But for the immaterial, it doesn't need to have anything. It could be even a non-national. An undocumented person. Once the person is in crisis, the person needs help. We are able to help the person, listen, counsel, and sometimes we can even tap into our networking of other NGOs that are on the island that can help. And then so we kind of guide them through those processes because each NGO has their own intake, its own way of receiving people or accepting or giving help. So we kind of guide them to see how they can tap into those things that are being offered by other NGOs as well.
When it comes to the services provided along the lines, you made mention of the material aid and the form that they follow, medical assistance, financial assistance. What is the basic requirements that one will have to bring into your department in order to apply?
Well, yes, we have a form that you have to fill out. And that form, we usually encourage people to come to the office. It is online. The form is online on the government website, but also we prefer for them to come because each person has its own stories, its own way of its own needs. And so depending on who the person is, then there are certain supporting documents that they have to bring in as well to be able to be used to assess the case so that they will be able to see if they qualify or not. You see? So with the form, there is also a list of supporting documents of which the receptionist will mark off as they talk to you to find out what is your need, where you stand, and different things like that. And then they will mark off, and then you will go and come back with the form filled out and the supporting documents. And then also we will give you an appointment at that time, and you will be able to come back for your appointment time to see a caseworker of whom will take your documents and start the process for the aid that you require.
I want to get into looking at the assistances individually because I'm sure that they have their respective ways of being handled. Let's start with medical.
Yes.
When one walks in for medical assistance, what's the qualifying factors there?
Okay. The law states that no one can have insurance more than one places. Okay. So, for example, they can't have an SZV insurance and a government insurance. So the first thing that is going to happen is that we are going to check with SZV to see if they are not SZV insured. And if they are not SZV insured, that is the first thing that we will have to find out, and then we continue with the process. Once we get the letter, we call it a not insured letter from SZV, then that we will call that client to come back, and then we will give them the list of required documents. They will fill it in, the form, get an appointment, come in, bring it. The caseworker will book it in, and after they finish booking it in, then immediately they would be able to start the process. By law, they are supposed to receive an answer in 1 month time. Once they qualify, we send the list of those people who qualify to SZV because SZV still does the printing of the card and also do the payments and all the different things like that. Social services is only doing the administration part. And so once we get the card, we call the client back, and then we say your card is ready to be picked up, so come and get your card, and then they sign for it and so. But we are in a process now because SZV is in the process of going cardless. And that is going to change now because now even our client from that hold government medical insurance also will have to be cardless. And so we are in the process now to open doors and to see how we can get this information out so that people will know how to be able to stay in tune of when their card expires or when they are still insured or not.
Talking to Senior Policy Execution Officer at the Department of Social Services, a department that falls under the Ministry of Public Health, Social Development, and Labor, Mr. Eric Van Arneman. Stay tuned. I'm going to talk more about those different assistances that are offered to you, the public of St. Martin, coming up right after the break. You're Inside Government.
You ever hear Earthquake call and say, "Hello, Mr. Mara, it's me, Earthquake, coming in Tuesday around 10. No, sir. Earthquake does arrive unannounced, and when it comes, it'll shake all the sense and the sensibility out of we. Remain calm, stay inside, and do the DCH. Drop, cover, hold on. Once the shaking start, and you know it's an earthquake, make a quick move to a safe place. Don't run to the doorway or any exit, and the stairs that may be broke up or even full of people. Elevator, avoid that because you might get in and then poof, power gone, and you're stuck in a box without air. Take cover under a strong table or a bed, or crouch against an inside wall or in a corner and cover your face and your head with your arms. Remember, DCH. Drop, cover, hold on. Glass windows and doors, outside walls in an earthquake, that is bad news. Take care of yourself. Most injuries during earthquakes happen when something drops and hit people entering or exiting a building. Last thing, don't bother run outside and ask, you feel it? You feel it? Remain calm, stay indoors until all the shaking stop and do the DCH. Drop, cover, hold on.
This public service announcement was brought to you by Sedima and the government of St. Martin. Hi, everyone. If you're just tuning in, we're having a conversation with the Senior Policy Execution Officer at the Department of Social Services, Mr. Eric Van Arneman. This is the department that falls under the Ministry of Public Health, Social Development, and Labor. And we left off talking to Eric about the various services that are being offered there at Social Services, and he talked about how you can get medical assistance. I'm going to move on now to one of the ones that I think will stand out even in this very, very turbulent economic times is financial assistance to those that would need it. Eric, highlight there for us how the financial assistance service is offered.
Yes, financial assistance is granted to those who cannot provide for their basic needs and those of their family. Financial assistance, I must say from the top, is not an unemployment benefit. So in other words, that sometimes people hear financial assistance, they think that it is almost like minimum wage. But it is just an assistance, you see, something that you can, count on, that is going to come monthly. So you know that amount, so you can make a budget that you can work with your financial assistance. There are various categories in financial assistance in the sense of depending on who you are. You might be a single person, you might be a single mom with one child, 2 children, 3 children, or you might be a senior citizen, a single senior citizen, a married senior citizen. You might be disabled, you might be, whatever the need is, you can feel free to come and visit our office, and we will be more than happy to explain to you how you can apply for this. Again, there is a national ordinances that govern financial assistance. So because of that, there are rules there of who can qualify for financial assistance. One of the main one is that you have to have at least permanent residence for you to apply for financial assistance. When you apply for financial assistance, the law gives us the room, because we have to do a more in-depth assessment of the case, so that you are able to see if you will be able to qualify for it. So therefore, the law gives us about in 3 months that we will be able to give the persons the answer if they qualify or not. That is the reason why sometimes people say, I apply, but I haven't heard anything yet, because the assessment takes a little longer for this particular aid that government is offering. Now, financial assistance has also some other legs that government has put in place to help the general public. For example, they can apply for a one-time financial assistance. And these one-time financial assistance are also governed by that same national ordinance. They can apply for assistance with the funeral. Government does not pay for the whole funeral, but it is an assistance. So they give you some help. So the family still has to come up with part of the bill, but you can apply for it. Government also has where parents can apply for school fee. Again, government will not pay for the whole school fee, but it will give you an assistance in paying for your the children's school fee, or even school uniforms. We also have a one-time financial assistance of where those who are on the welfare list, they can also qualify for durable goods, for example, a bed, a stove, a fridge, but that is only once a year. They can apply for one of these things that they may need to make their lives more comfortable and, to be able to live well on the island. And also we have I was thinking of another one, but it slipped me, of another one-time financial assistance that they can apply for. But these are the different things that government has in place that, that can help the people of St. Martin. So if whatever your need is, please feel free to come to us. Come to our office. Our office is in the government administration building, and the front desk for where you can come and gather information is open from 8:30 to 12 o'clock. And then in the afternoon too, but in the afternoon, you may not find somebody right there because it is those of us who work at the front office also work in the back office. So, we fulfill it, but we are there to be able to answer any questions that you may have.
I noticed that you mentioned that the assistance is offered financially in part.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any one of the services there financially where 100% is covered, or is it just a standard amount that is given?
It is all assistance. So in other words, there's no way that they will cover the whole bill. You see, government doesn't cover the whole bill in anything. Maybe medical part. For it depends what the bill is. Government will cover that, like your hospital bill, the different things like that, because of the card that you have. But other than that, financially, for you to get the money itself, no. Or the other one that I forget, if I can squeeze it in, is that for those in crisis care, for example, your house get burned or flooded or some things like that. Also, we do have, government have something in place that can help you a little financially, that you can go back and start over. It's not anything, a lot of money, but it is something that help. It's a help. Most people that received it were very happy to have that whatever they received that they can use to start over wherever they, or buy back the things that they lost during either the flooding or the fire.
Legal assistance, when one needs legal assistance, not every time you can afford to have your own lawyer. So it's great to be able to be supported at that level. How does that work?
Well, legal assistance is provided to help with legal representation for those who cannot afford to pay for their necessary legal services. Again, the process is the same, that they have to come to the office and then fill in the form and bring in the supporting documents. We have for divorce, if you want to get divorced. We do have for labor and labor cases, if you have problem with your bosses and things like that. And we also have for other disputes. For example, division of goods or things like that. This type of need that you may need a lawyer, government can provide. But again, you will have to come to the office, and then we will listen to your case, and then we will be able to advise you better if you will qualify or not. Everyone is able to receive or to apply, but not everyone will qualify. That's what I wanted to keep saying, because some people feel, well, because I come and apply, I will get it. It's not always the case. An assessment is always being done so that before they can receive this aid.
We're talking about the services that are offered to you, the people of St. Martin, in honor of the 10th anniversary of public service by the government of St. Martin, of course, specifically the Department of Public Service Center. And we're having a conversation with Senior Policy Execution Officer, Mr. Eric Van Arneman. Stay tuned. We're going to talk about how your services can be rendered, whether you live on the French side or the Dutch side. How does that work? Coming up right after the break. Stay with us.
Resident Permit Online Application Process. Select the request type and purpose, then fill out the applicant information. Click Add Guarantor to enter the guarantor information, whether the guarantor is a person or a business. When done, click Save and proceed to enter the relationship information. Click Add relationship to enter the family information regarding any minor children and spouses. Save and hit next to go to the following page. Upload all required documents for the applicant and the guarantor. When done, click next to go to the following page. Read all declarations and authorizations, accept and submit your application.
If you're just joining us, I'm having a conversation with the Senior Policy Execution Officer at the Department of Social Services, Mr. Eric Van Arneman. Eric, we left off talking about the legal assistance that's offered, and we're going to transition now into some immaterial services that are offered. But before I get into that, the last thing I asked you was the difference between the French side, Dutch side, and one qualifying, because people can get into the assumption that, okay, I live on the Dutch side, but maybe I can apply for aid on the northern side and northern to the south. Is that the case? If not, explain to us how it works.
Well, even though we do have a non-discriminatory policy, where so services are administered in accordance with the framework of our country's constitution, which prohibit discrimination based on, but not limited to, like age, race, color, sex, disability, religious creed, national origin, marital status, parental or birth status, or sexual orientation. We have to understand that St. Martin is divided in two, and they are in two different countries. And so the northern side is French and the southern side is Dutch. And so these are the things that I have mentioned are primarily, or they are solely, I should say, for the Dutch side residents of St. Martin. One of the requirements is that you have to be registered on the Dutch side, and you also have to live on the Dutch side. There are some people who feel that they are registered on the Dutch side, but they're living on the French side, and they can still come and use both government to get the whatever aid they can get from the French side and also the aid from the Dutch side. But our laws will not allow us to do that. So someone cannot be living on the French side, even though they are registered on the Dutch side, and still tap into the Dutch side aid. You see, so these are the different things that are we always have to pay attention to. That is why sometimes the assessment takes long, because if we receive a request from a person, from a clientele, we started the assessment, and if there is questions, either the caseworker who is working on the case will make a phone call to verify certain things, or we may have to go to house visits. And then we usually go by the address that you provided. So you say that you are living at this address, and then we must find you at this address. You see, and so it is important for us to be able to get, because sometimes we have to do house visit to verify the information. Some other required documents that we ask is not only the registration form to show that you are registered on the Dutch side, but also we ask for a bill that match the address that you say that you have. For example, the bill has to be in your name at least. Could be a phone bill, it could be an electrical bill, it could be whatever bill it is, but it's just so that we can match the addresses. So when we go there and we don't find you, it's going to be a problem.
Absolutely. And now talking about the bill, does it also have to be within a specific time frame as well? So
yes. A current bill. It has to be a current bill. Correct. It has to be a current bill that we will request for you to bring in, just to verify addresses.
Okay.
To know that this is it. No, there might be, for example, you might be living in your mother's house and the bill is in your mother's name. Okay. We can take that as well. But when we go to verify, we're supposed to be able to find you at that address. You see, so that is the important thing. Yeah.
Immaterial aid. You talked about that earlier, and you mentioned that social worker intervention is one of the features of that.
Yes.
Take us into how immaterial aid functions or works within the service.
Okay, the immaterial aid is a leg of social services unit. Here is where the social workers will be more involved with the client. They provide personal sessions to help with the situation client is facing through offering solutions, ideas, or activities. Okay, we do various things with our clientele. They may do maybe a budgeting classes. These are for empowerment or self-awareness or how to build up yourself and do things like that. They also work with labor affairs in helping them prepare to go back or to go to the labor market. They also do counseling. That is provided to counseling is provided for clientele seeking advice about social, vocational, educational, parental, or psychological matters. Or even in crisis care, we hold hands, we cry with you, we laugh with you. This intervention is sometimes very needy when you think of the welfare of our community. Sometimes people don't know where to go. Again, I am going to say, if you feel you need somebody to talk to, somebody that can help you, you are looking for assistance in the sense of guidance, you can come, because again, we do have a form downstairs by the receptionist of where the client can fill out the form, and then when you leave the form, then that form will be passed to a social worker. The social worker will call you back and make an appointment with you. Either she goes and visit with you, or invite you to come back to the office to have a one-on-one conversation and to see how they can help you grow into this. Another feature about the immaterial aid is that we also help in psychological first aid, where we can help when bigger traumas take place, maybe in a business or things like that. Sometimes there's robbery, and then the people who work there, what's the word I'm looking for? The employees, everyone is shaken. And so, we can come in and listen and see how, let them talk and share and then see and then reinforce them that let's be happy that this didn't happen, that didn't happen. And sometimes we may have to advise them to go to maybe to a psychiatrist and things like that, because these are important things. Sometimes we feel that we can brush it off, but it will come back later to haunt us. And so we are here now to be able to help in setting up some of these differences that we are not all the same, so we don't deal with the problems all the same way. So each one of us have it. And especially also now that we are in hurricane season, St. Martin being on the hurricane belt, we also go to the shelters once they're open and there's people there. We go there as well to listen to, especially sometimes people lose their homes or they are in a shelter because they don't know how to go face what they are going to see when they go back home. So either we go with them or we talk with them, prepare them to what they are going to face of what they have faced as we look at this other leg of social services, which is the immaterial aid.
Eric, we talked about this. There's so much going on with your department, and
Yes.
it's a fantastic service that you offer to the people of this country. But we are totally out of time, and I want to give you the final seconds to give final words to the public that is viewing and listening to this program.
Okay, all I wanted to say is that we are here to help. Please feel free, come to the office, and you don't have to ask for me, because that is one thing. Anytime people hear me say this, they come to the office and they want to speak to Eric. It's not always available because as I was introduced, I am the Senior Policy Execution Officer, so I am in another office doing other things. But we have competent caseworkers, competent receptionists that can help you, listen to you, advise you, and give you the form and the list of supporting documents so that you will be able to apply for the aid that you need.
Senior Policy Execution Officer, Mr. Eric Van Arneman there at the Department of Social Services. Congratulations for continued quality service by you and the rest of the team down
Thank
there
you.
at the department. And of course, to our radio listeners and television viewers, thank you for tuning in and being a part of this program. If you've missed my conversation with Mr. Van Arneman, be sure to catch video on demand at the official Facebook page of the Government of St. Martin at facebook.com/SXM@GOV. Be sure to subscribe to the official YouTube channel of the Government of St. Martin at youtube.com, Government of St. Martin. And for audio playback, stay tuned to St. Martin Gov Radio 107.9 FM throughout the course of the day. On behalf of my colleagues down at the Department of Social Services and, of course, here at the Department of Communication, I'm Cedric Peterson. Thanks so much for tuning in.